A lot going on.
Yeah, there is, eh? When you start to think of
You
it.
start to go through it, yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to Explore Everywhere podcast, where we explore the world through hiking trails and paddling routes, visit some beautiful places, and meet the people who love and protect them. If you're planning your next adventure, check out our online store at www.exploreeverywheremedia.com. Any sales from the website go towards helping support the podcast. Welcome to episode 27 of the Explore Everywhere podcast. My name's James Donald, the creator of Hiking MB websites and several other outdoor adventure websites, and the Explore Everywhere podcast, and we love to get out and explore. This week's adventure takes us to Grande-Digue in the southeast part of New Brunswick between Shediac and Bucktouche. I'm going there to explore the 5 trails that they have called the Sentier Pluriel de Grande-Digue. And I meet up with Stéphanie Albert, who is part of the Sentier Pluriel de Grande-Digue Association, who is responsible for developing these trails and maintaining them. I'd like to thank her for the interview. I'd also like to thank all of the other volunteers and all of the other organizations we mentioned in our interview that make this trail system possible. It's amazing how much work goes into these trails, and just to see the dedication and the passion, you'll hear that in Stephanie's voice. And I also got to talk to David Mathot, who is the vice president of the association. He was actually out doing trail maintenance when I was out hiking, so it shows the level of dedication they have to these trail systems. I meet up with Stephanie at a small Acadian historic village that is being expanded right next to the Centre Communautaire. On the day that I arrived, there was actually a marathon going on. I think it's the first one in New Brunswick of the season, so it was a very busy marathon. There's people everywhere, but by the time our interview was over, the marathon was getting over and it started to quiet down a bit. I met her at the Acadian village. We walked out the short Crushed Rock Trail Sentier Musée, the museum trail that goes out and goes to a bench overlooking the Shediac Bay. We get to talk to a few people that are actually playing a round of disc golf, which is fascinating. I didn't know much about it before, and they explained how it worked to us and let us watch them shoot for the next hole. I don't know if you call it a hole, but the cage, I guess, is what they throw it into. It's an amazing sport, and I'd like to try it out sometime. Then we walk back to the small historic village and have a conversation about the trails and the association and all that's put into that trail system and all of the passion of the people who put all the work into that. Once I was done my interview with Stephanie, I got a chance to hike all of the trails and put on 18 kilometers, I think was the distance I put on total with all the trails, which was a big day, big hike across 5 different trails. It was an amazing experience to try out the trails. And after the interview with Stephanie, I'll explain the trails and what my experience was on the trails. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Stephanie.
This little museum is really interesting.
Yeah.
It's not open yet, but it's like a historical Acadian museum.
Not open for the year, or is it brand new altogether?
No, it's been open for a while. They renovate each year and they add on some little houses.
Okay.
And now they have something going on here where you can play disc golf.
Disc golf is, I see that everywhere now.
Yeah, and I think you can get the equipment or the discs at the rec center.
Oh, okay.
Trying that out.
Yeah, I saw it. I went and snowshoed probably not that long ago, but snowshoed around the Miramichi country or the cross country ski club.
Mm-hmm.
And they have disc golf all through the woods there now. I didn't realize.
So we gotta clean this. So
it
much
grows fast.
coming through the gravel,
Yeah.
eh?
So how new would this trail be? Is it fairly new?
Yeah, 2 years.
I was gonna say, yeah, 'cause it's not quite settled yet, eh?
Not quite. Yeah, so we've got those informational signs that
yeah.
we put up. We've got one here and one. There's probably one in each trail.
Yeah, I know. No pressure. I feel like we're watching this, but
It's easy most of the time.
It's easy to hit trees.
Don't do what I did.
That's like my golf game. I end up in the woods or on the other fairway.
Oh, am I taking a mulligan on that one?
Oh yeah, you should
Yeah,
mulligan that.
throw another one.
It's bound, so I can't really play it from there.
Oh, they're all over here too. Yeah.
Du centre communautaire?
No, we
Mike's combination of Mike's Bike Shop and
And online.
Ace Runners is a Ace Runners is a website.
yeah,
Okay.
they sell some all over the place.
So you guys are professionals, what you're saying.
More like plastic collectors.
Yeah,
You can't just buy one.
That was the whole bag full.
And they all fly differently.
Oh, they all
like,
different. Yeah, that's what I
Like
was
this is
wondering.
closer to your classic shape of a disc, and this is a putter. So
Yeah.
your short distances, but then you've got your drivers. There'll be a lot more.
Oh, wow.
You don't want to play catch with these ones. They hurt.
Yeah.
They've got some heft to
But
them.
they'll go far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you always put your number on it, so that way when it gets lost,
Yeah.
usually you get them back.
Usually you get it back.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, so far I've gotten all my discs back. You had lost one in
I'm
TI.
one that's missing. I was waiting for the thaw. I lost it in the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can play
I
all
didn't
winter
know. I didn't
long.
know there's different kinds and different. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the
at all.
courses are popping up everywhere across the province there. There's
Dieppe and
Sackville.
Sackville are bigger courses, like
Yeah.
full 18 holes and whatnot. So.
I was just saying that I snowshoed in Miramichi at the cross country ski club there, and they have them all through the woods there now.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I was
Oh,
surprised
do
to
they have
see.
some now?
Yeah.
See, that
Good.
news to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess we're going to Miramichi.
Found them all?
I know St. John is working on one there and should have one by the. Well, they're supposed to have it ready by the start of the summer. Yeah, that's better.
There we go. You're in the feet.
Take a couple strokes penalty there.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well, good luck.
Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. And still trying to get all the trails in the province, but people keep building them. So, oh my God, I was surprised when I saw these ones first last year. I was like, a whole other set of trails.
Yeah. It's
'Cause, like-
been slow going, but we're getting there. This summer we're finally getting the parking. So
No, it's nice to see people putting together trails and stuff, and having associations and stuff.
yep.
So the whole trail organization's been the last couple of years, has it, or is it before
No,
that?
we
Or
started actually in we incorporated in 2017.
2017? Okay,
Yeah.
so a few years then.
Yeah, we had our five-year anniversary last year.
Nice. So you've lived in Grande-Digue for a while then?
I'm in Chediac River, which is
Oh, you're in
just-
Chediac River,
just,
yeah, okay.
just on the other side.
Yeah.
Obviously, 10 minutes away. My kids go to Grande-Digue school.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, we've been here since it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice spot. It's nice and close to Moncton and all the. It's kind of like I live in Nakwik, and I've got about 45 minute drive into Fredericton. So
Yeah, exactly.
we've got the country atmosphere, but we're close to the city too.
Yeah, it's about everything.
Well, and you got the coast. Part of today, I just want to get to the coast. It's in Nakwik. I don't get to the coast as often as I'd like.
That's true.
So you do a lot of hiking outside of Grande-Digue too, or?
Yeah, we've gone to do the bluffs and stuff there.
Oh, nice.
We usually bring the kids so we're not doing crossing and
Yeah.
that hardcore stuff. Since the pandemic, people have been looking for trails and
Stuff
stuff
pick up
outside.
here in the last couple of years with the pandemic?
I think so. I think once we get the main parking done, it'll be a lot better because right now people have been telling us that they're just having a hard time trying to figure out where they should park and where they should start.
Yeah.
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 So,
yeah. So you've
yeah.
got parking for this trail here.
Yeah,
obviously,
this is parking. Yeah, but this is just a tiny trail.
But the other trail's just across the road by, there's kind of a market over there. Is that what I remember? Or
Yeah, there is a market. So the trail is across the road from the parking lot at the church.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also access it from the school because it runs right along the school.
Oh.
When we started in 2017, about a year before that, I was really wanted to have a trail near the school so that the kids could go and walk outside and potentially have a place where, like an outdoor classroom
Yeah.
at some point.
So there's nothing before that then, really?
No, there was nothing. There
Yeah.
was a long time ago they had started building something, but it overgrown
Yeah.
and everything. So little did I know that there was already a group that was looking at building trails. And so we all got together and we incorporated in 2017. And
Yeah.
then we did a part of the school trail, just the first kilometer, I think. And
Yeah.
then we just grew every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how big is it now? It's 5 kilometers or something in there?
It's 5 kilometers, yeah, the school trail, and then when you get to the end, you can do the Ideal Book Trail, which is another almost 2 kilometers, and then you get to the shore.
Oh, okay. That one takes you to the
over
shore.
there,
The other one just takes you out to the road on the other side?
Yep.
Is it by I saw the sign for Beaver. Is that
Yeah.
the winter trails?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So part of our trail system kind of merges, and we share part of the trail system with the Ski Beaver Cross Country Ski Club.
Yeah.
And so once we build the parking, there is going to be 2 trails going out from the parking. There's going to be a ski trail and a
okay.
foot trail or snowshoeing in the winter.
Wintertime. Yeah.
And then so it's nice because then we'll have there's going to be a gazebo with benches where you can sit down and put your skis on, and
Yeah.
dry toilet and picnic tables and kind of a rest
Oh, that's
nature
good,
area.
yeah.
So
Nice to have all the.
yeah,
Yeah, it's nice to have the mix of winter and summer too.
exactly.
So, because I see a lot
Yeah.
of a lot of places like up in Tracadie and that they have the winter club, but then they try and make it into a year round because I mean winter's only
Yeah.
depending on where you are, probably around here a couple months long really. So
Exactly, depending
Yeah.
on the year. But yeah, they're like a multi-purpose, multi-use trail system, which is great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So there's 5 trails altogether around.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
The main one, like we were talking about, is 5
This-
kilometers, and then
Yeah.
the second one that hooks on to the main trail, which is the Ideal Book Trail, that one is
Mhm.
almost 2 kilometers. Those are both together accessible. Going from one to another is really easy.
Yeah.
But the other 2 trails are on the
The
other side of Grande-Digue. Yeah.
Yeah. This
So-
including this one, you mean the short ones or?
This one, yeah. This one would
So
be
this is-
the 5th one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's one down on the other side. I forget. It goes
Yeah,
out to
along the shore.
the salt marsh. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the 5th one?
There's the
2 over here.
yeah.
2
There's
there.
Jacques and Edna, and then there's the Paul.
Oh, there's another one that's
Paul
like a straight
Casey.
line that's half winter, half summer. Is it
Yes.
the way it's on the map?
Yeah, the
Okay.
Jacques and Edna is during the summer you can't get through the marsh, so it's not very
Oh,
long. It's
okay.
only about
I think it's like
about a
750
kilometer.
or something.
Yeah.
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 Nice
And
trail this
so
time of
you
year
have
though,
to-
or is?
It's really nice. The trees are very beautiful, but in the winter you can go a lot further because the marsh is frozen. So you
Yeah.
can go with your snowshoes and do a 3 kilometers and then come back. Yeah, those trails are shorter, but they're still very nice, and there's something for everyone basically.
Yeah.
The Paul Casey Trail gets you to the shore, and you can see the dune, the Grande-Digue dune.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw
And-
that. It's
yep.
almost a salt marsh.
There's
Yeah.
also, I think it's Osprey.
Yeah.
Osprey,
Balbazar.
Yeah,
Right?
Balbuzal.
It's
Yeah,
the Osprey.
exactly. Yeah. So there's a nature committee that actually installed those so that the osprey could come and
Oh,
build
okay.
nests, and
Nice.
it's great. Yeah.
And I think there's a lookout platform out there too.
There is a lookup
Yeah.
platform.
I was
Yep.
looking, the website that
Absolutely.
you have is nice. It has like the breakdown of the trail with the pictures and the descriptions and stuff. So
Yeah.
I didn't notice that the first time I looked at it. I just saw the map and I didn't go into the individual trail stuff.
Yeah, you can go into the individual trails. We try to
Yeah.
also, if we're having any events, we try to advertise that on the main page. If there's any events going on, like last year we had a rally for our 5th anniversary, and yeah,
Yeah. And like the race today.
the race today. I don't know if we had that on our website actually. I think we might have forgot. to put
Oh,
that on
okay.
there.
It's hard to keep up with all the
Yeah.
social
We
media
don't
and the
have
website.
there's no Grande-Digue website yet.
Yeah.
We don't have like a community website.
Yeah.
There's a Facebook group.
So is there a Grande-Digue? There must be like a local service district kind of group that gets together.
It used to be, but
now they changed all the local
They
service
changed it,
districts
so
around.
we're together with Kokang and Shediac River
Oh,
and,
okay.
and Shediac Bridge, Kokang and Grande-Digue all together.
Oh,
That's
okay.
nice.
Okay.
So now it's Beau Soleil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's good because it's giving us, we're networking is better. We get to meet
Yeah.
more people, and for funding especially, we were able to get from the Canada Community Building Fund,
Yeah.
which used to be the gas tax fund in
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah. What about the? Do you guys deal with the Shediac group, the Association of Plein Air? I think it's called down. They have the trails down south
They
of Shediac.
do, yeah. They have the bike trails, which are awesome. We've talked.
Yeah.
I know who they.
It's good
we
to have
know
the
who they are,
connections to-
and yeah, for sure. We initially wanted to also have our trails be accessible for bikes, but its insurance is just not
Oh, okay.
possible. It's so
I never thought of that
expensive.
from the insurance side of things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very expensive.
So you
as
have to put
far as
you have to put insurance on the trails and stuff, like liability
Yep,
insurance.
liability
I didn't know
insurance.
that.
Yep,
I never
we
really thought
do.
about
We
that
have.
before. Yeah. I mean, anybody I've
Yep.
dealt with as part of like a provincial park or which I know they have liability insurance, but I never thought about that for just small community trails. So
Yeah, no, we've had to purchase insurance. It's not too bad, but if we wanted to add on biking, it would be a lot more expensive. And we're just a really
yeah.
small nonprofit. We're, our executive is like we're four people,
people,
and then our
yeah.
council is maybe 12.
oh, okay.
So yeah, we're very small, and we do most of our funding comes from provincial, federal.
Mm-hmm.
We also have the Shediac Co-op, which has helped us a lot,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah.
the Uni Financial Cooperative,
Yeah.
the banks, which have been really good to us, and then the Knights of Columbus here, and private donations, and
Oh, nice.
there's so many. It's such a nice community for volunteers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I find when you get the mix of somebody interested in doing something with the trails, and then you get the right people involved, and
Yeah.
like there's funding there. It's just a matter of the people knowing each other is doing what they're doing. So
Yep.
yeah. So that's
No.
why I asked about the Shediac group, because I mean, just the connections around and stuff is
Yeah,
is huge. So
it
I mean,
is.
I think they've got trained trail builders. I think if I remember, I think a couple of them guys there are trained trail builders. I think they use it more for the mountain bike side, but
Yeah.
it's every time I go with somebody like that, I learn all kinds of stuff about stuff I don't think about most of the time. So
No, exactly, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have that support.
So what's the future plans for everything? Just
We are-
slow growth, kind of.
Yeah, we've been very slow, and we do what we can. And like I said, it's all based on volunteers, and which we're very fortunate to have. But we don't have a 5-year plan. We're looking at another trail in the Grande-Digue area, but it's just in the
Conceptual
investigation
stages, yeah.
stage,
Idea.
just kind of because they're all built on private land, so there's a lot of
Yeah, so I was going to ask,
Um,
is it's a lot of it's. I mean, is this private land here then? Is this part of the rec
it's
center?
owned by the whoever owns the church and the
Oh, okay, it's part of the church property.
yeah, it's part of
Okay.
the church property. I
Interesting.
don't know what the association is called, but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but the
and
other ones, I think, the other ones are all on private land then.
the other ones are all
Yeah.
private land. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of communicating with the landowners, and that was our first year. That's all that we did, is just
Yeah.
kind of communicate with them. There's a lot of landowners that we're really, really fortunate to have these people that are open to having trails on their properties. And I think it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, there's a group of students at the school. They all got together and they had an entrepreneurial project where they were selling leashes and scarves for dogs
Okay.
and dog treats and stuff, and they fundraised a lot of money actually, and then they wanted to build an outdoor classroom,
Okay.
and they wanted it to be a little ways from the school so that they would have a little nice walk
Yeah.
to get to the outdoor classroom.
Yeah.
So the landowner just next to the school agreed, and they donated the money to
Oh, wow.
us, and then we built it along with their help and all of the kids and their parents, and
Yeah.
and now pretty much the school uses it, as soon as it's nice enough to go. Even during the winter, sometimes there's really nice days.
Yeah.
So they use the outdoor classroom, which is about close to a kilometer away from the school. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of the outdoor classroom. I see a lot of outdoor schools that are like they're out there every day, or like
Mhm.
it's all or nothing. I like the classroom where it's like a mix of Just to, yeah. My sister actually teaches. She's a teacher in the UK, and she does outdoor class, and she's got like the certification for it and stuff. She just loves going out in the woods anyways and teaching
Yeah.
the kids about it.
It's great for the
Yeah.
kids.
Oh yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
they
they
don't
get-
get out much anymore.
No, they get fresh air and
Yeah.
they get to interact with nature and
Yeah. So you've got a couple young kids, say?
yeah, 8 and 13.
Oh, you can still,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
They're
they
still
both-
not arguing too much about going out
No.
on adventures.
No, they love it. Yeah, the school here is from kindergarten to grade 8.
Yeah.
So it's a small school, but it's a great school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good community.
Yep.
Yeah. And the race today, what trails were they using for the race today?
They were actually running on the road.
Oh, that was all road?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Well, it looks like a fairly younger, family-oriented crowd around here now. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just seeing the running side of that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a mix of everything. There's a lot of cottages and a lot of
Yeah.
young families because the school is really sought after, and
Yeah.
I think during the pandemic we had a lot of people from Ontario coming
Yeah.
to New Brunswick. No, so we're hoping that with the new project this summer and the parking and everything, people can actually, because there's a few campgrounds just around Grande-Digue.
Yeah,
So if you want
yeah.
to come to Grande-Digue and camp, and
Nice.
then use the trails, and then we were talking about you can put your kayaks in the water at Chileo restaurant.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a place there where you can do some
That's not the same as
kayaking.
Cielo, the domes, the camping domes. Are they?
No,
They're
they're the
somewhere over here.
Creekside. Creekside's in Cookhung.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Creekside R&R is in Cookhung. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are really nice too, and those are not far.
Yeah.
And then there's Maplebrook domes as well
Yeah,
here,
I've seen
just
those.
right here on Shediac Bridge.
Oh, okay.
Which is really close by.
Okay.
So a lot of options. There's
Yeah.
to sleep over and
Yeah.
do some hiking and kayaking, and beaches are all close. There's a Casey Cape Beach here in Grande-Digue, and
I
then
saw
there's
that.
a
Yeah, I was looking at
Bucktush.
the map yesterday. I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
never saw that beach before. I never saw that.
Yeah, it's really nice. And there's a nice little lighthouse there. And then the Bucktush isn't far. They have really nice bike trails and hiking trails, and the
Bucktush
boardwalk on the
Dunes.
beach and the dunes. Yeah.
Yeah. The other dune I noticed on the map when I was looking here was the Cap Lumiere. I didn't realize it had such an extensive beach and sand dune
Yeah.
there. I think it's
Yeah.
6 kilometers long.
Yep.
But I'm always thinking of Bucktouche when I come down that far, but it's quite extensive, so
It
I have to come
is.
check that out too. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Grande-Digue is kind of in the middle between Bucktush and Shediac and Cap-Belay and Cap-Lumiere. Like we're
Yeah.
kind of well situated for
Good place to come centrally and then
Yes.
travel,
Yeah.
check out all the surroundings. So, yeah. Nice. And this little village, you're saying this village is kind of expanding a little bit over time?
This museum, yeah, so it's an Acadian museum. They're adding on little houses every year. It's really great when it's open. There's this school, so the school is set up like like a real school. All of the furniture and all the it's like a historical museum,
Like an old-fashioned
like-
schoolhouse?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
And some of the buildings actually are from here, if I'm not mistaken. I'm probably not the best person to promote the museum, but because I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know
Oh, no,
that we've
it's-
come to visit with the kids, and the kids really loved it because all the things that they, that they would see, and they especially like the school because you can sit in
Yeah.
the. I lose my words because
Oh,
I'm
no.
translating them in my head
No,
from
no
French to
problem.
English.
You can say it in French too.
Sorry.
Je comprends un peu.
Oui.
Oui.
Non, ils aiment de venir à l'école parce qu'ils peuvent s'asseoir au pupitre, puis voir les vieux livres, les cahiers. Puis,
Oh, oui, like the-
yeah, so.
Je ne sais pas qu'est-ce que c'est le chalkboard.
Oui,
Oui.
yeah. Tableau. Un tableau. So are you
nice.
planning to walk
As much as possible.
all of them? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the muddier ones, I guess, this time of year?
They're all pretty good right now, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
We have some walkways that were installed over the really wet areas. So
Oh, okay.
and we did a lot of infilling just to make sure that it was pretty much
Drained.
every
Yeah,
year, like
so it's
all
not-
year
yeah.
round. Yeah, year
Yeah.
round. So
So they don't become a ditch, basically.
exactly. There's the Alierburg Trail, which
Mhm.
is the one that hooks onto the
side
school
trail.
trail
Yeah.
and gets you to the shore.
Mhm.
That one, when you get near the end, we still have some work to do there. So there might be a couple spots that are really muddy.
Yeah.
But if your shoes are waterproof, you can. So once you get to the place where there's a bench and the little bay,
Mhm.
if you want, you can keep going.
Yeah.
It's a little muddy, but then you can get to a beach right there.
Oh, okay.
A little further.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice beach.
See when I get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it's hard to believe it's the end of April.
I know.
The weather is beautiful. It's supposed to be beautiful all weekend, I think. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I've been trying to hold off as much as possible to start paddling, because I don't like promoting it this time of year, because there's people out there paddling weeks ago, and I'm like, oof.
It's a little cold.
It's a little sketchy if you fall in the water.
Yeah.
I did one time, we went canoeing, I think it was middle of May, and I dumped a friend of mine in the river, and he, I mean, it was, the weather was cold enough that he had full piece long johns under his clothes kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when he got out, he was starting to talk funny, like he was starting to get
Oh my gosh.
hypothermic, so, and I was just dumping him out on the shore, and he climbed out right away kind of thing, so. I'm
Wow.
always worried about promoting it too early.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah, it could be safety issues there.
yeah.
But it would be really nice, even though the water's really cold. The
Yeah.
sun. If you
Oh,
don't,
it'll
fall in the
it'll come
water,
fast enough,
you're good.
Yeah. It'll be here soon. The warmer waters. I'd like to come down. I want to come down and stay at Cushbuck. There's a backcountry campsite there on the Rushbuckto River, I think it is.
Mhm.
I'd like to paddle into that this summer.
Mhm.
I just love exploring the sand dunes and even up around Tracadie. I started going to Tracadie the last few years and exploring the dunes up there. And there's a 12-kilometer dune up there. I didn't know.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No, I didn't
it's
know that
crazy
either.
how big
Wow.
these dunes are. I've still got to go to the end of one of my goals is to get out to the end of Bucktooth Dunes, which is 12 kilometers too. So it's
Yeah.
a big day to get out there and back.
I didn't know they were that long.
Yeah.
12 kilometers. Wow.
Yeah. It's a long ways.
Yeah.
So, great places to explore. Fascinating spots when you get out there. Feels so wild. So you got big plans for the summer? Any hiking plans for the summer, or?
We're gonna camp this summer,
Yeah.
so we haven't cemented any plans yet. But if you have any suggestions, feel free.
All kinds of suggestions.
Last year we went to Grand Manan. That was great.
Grandma Ann's nice. Yeah.
And then we just keep building more trails. So
I know. Yeah. No, it's great to see them pop up, and I'm like, oh, add them to the list. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna try and knock off a big part of. We're going to Mount Carlton specifically for kayaking. We're gonna not hike at Mount Carlton. We're gonna just kayak, but I'm gonna hike into it from the Nipisquit Trail a couple days before.
Okay.
Try and knock off some kilometers there, because I've got about half of that trail left to do. I
okay.
think it's like 90 kilometers left to do in that. So.
That's a
Yeah,
lot.
It is. It's fun though.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I may not convince my kids to do that many kilometers. but-
No, no. My kids got to the point where they're a teenager and are like, unless it's like really cool and easy to get to, or unless it's like Mount Katahdin in Maine, like climbing a mountain and
Yeah.
like
having
extreme.
a goal.
So enjoy them while they're younger.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's
Well,
fun.
they're at a good age right now where they still want to follow us, and
Yeah.
they love the bluffs.
No, the bluffs is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And pretty easy to get up to too.
Yep.
There's a nature preserve on the website. It mentions a new nature preserve. Is that where the
Yes.
the
So
idea of a trail is?
we didn't get to that. So what happened is our trails were all already built, and the ski beaver trails were already all
Yeah.
built on that land. And it
Oh,
was a
okay,
private
that's
land.
on that land, okay.
Yeah, and it was a private
Oh, okay,
land,
I didn't realize it
and
was the same.
they wanted to sell it, so they put it up for sale.
Yeah.
And we talked to the landowners, and we mentioned that if they wanted to consider selling it to the Nature Trust of New Brunswick.
Yeah.
And so we kind of did the in-between.
Negotiation. The negotiation. Yeah.
No, yeah, we helped out and contacted Nature Trust of New Brunswick, put them in contact with the landowners,
Yeah.
and we now are going to manage the land for a Nature Trust of New Brunswick who
Yeah.
purchased the land.
Yeah.
So our nonprofit is going to take care of the land.
That's good. Yeah.
But it's owned by the Nature Trust of New Brunswick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
yeah. It was a one of the bigger lands that our trails were already on, and
Yeah.
we really didn't want to lose all of the ski trails and all of the. That's always a risk, right?
Yeah.
It might have been
With the
fine
with
the new
any of the
and
private, you don't.
when
Yeah.
a private owner, it might have
Yeah.
been okay, but we saw it as an opportunity to kind of make sure that it wasn't developed and
That's
that
the
we
longer
could.
term.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so with Ski Beaver, partnering up with Ski Beaver, and so we're going to manage the land, and that's where we're building the nature rest area where with the parking and the gazebo and
So
all
is the gazebo and stuff, are you going to build on the far side of the École Trail?
it's basically
Or on this side of...
the school trail. Yeah, l'école, le sentier de l'école. It starts around where the school is, and then
Yeah.
gets on the other side of the
where the
530,
big
the
beaver
Route
sign
530.
is. Yeah.
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 So that nature trust area is about in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah. So the parking is going to be a little further up on the 530.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's going to be like in the middle of the trail.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So is that trail mostly wooded?
Yes.
Like it is, eh?
Yeah. The first kilometer is in a champ.
In a field, oui.
Yeah. In a field.
Je
So.
sais beaucoup de les mots pour les sentiers et les champs et la nature.
So yeah, so when you're walking up, if you turn around, it's really nice because you can see it goes up a little bit
Okay.
in elevation,
Mhm.
so you can see the ocean
Okay.
as you're walking up that field, and then it turns into a wooded area, and that's the little school classroom. The outdoor classroom is right there,
Okay.
and then yes, it's wooded for the next
The rest,
4
yeah.
kilometers.
Le même avec le sentier allé.
À l'Airport.
Oui.
Yeah. Part of it is mostly wooded, and then that trail is much wider.
Oh, okay.
When you get to that parking, there's a small parking for that Allier trail,
Mhm.
and that trail is much wider. So it's more like a road
Okay.
going into, but it is wooded on each side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the Sentier de l'École, is it crushed rock or is it wooded? Like single
Some
track?
parts have crushed rock, but it's mostly just shale and natural
Gravel.
surface.
Gravier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of walkways and a couple of small bridges, and
Okay.
but it's mostly natural. There are some routes, and it's some spots are a little not as easy,
Mhm.
but it's still easy, moderate trail altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other trail?
Jacques.
Wait, let Jacques.
Yeah.
Is that forested too?
Yes,
It goes
that
out
one's
into
forested.
the bog.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
that one is forest as well. There's a small part at the beginning, which is also in a field.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I always assume when I saw there were forested trails, I always assume this area is open and fields and
Yeah.
coastal and stuff. I never really
Yeah.
think of the forest side of things. So you have a full mix then.
Yep.
Yeah. So you have
Yeah.
Salt Marsh on that trail. You have this one, which is with the historic village.
Mhm.
You have the school one that's tied into the school. You have another coastal one there, and then
Yep.
and the bog one.
And
Nice.
the bog one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a bit of mix of everything for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
that's
and in
good.
the winter, you
And then you
can
get the winter
snowshoe
stuff
all of
on.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's good. Do you guys groom the trails, or are they?
Nope.
No, it's just
Nope.
a snowshoe. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a free program for
Yeah.
free snowshoe rentals.
Where does that happen?
So we have the snowshoes, the little fruit and market,
Mhm.
fruit and vegetable market, and they have all sorts of they sell all sorts of other things too. It's called Les Digues.
Okay.
It's right,
Right across
by
from
the
the church?
school.
Yeah.
Yeah, right across from the church.
Yeah.
And they rent the snowshoes for us during the winter.
Oh wow.
So yeah,
And you said the frisbee golf gets out of here, out of the rec
through
center.
in the community center, I
Community
believe.
center.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. A lot going on.
Yeah. There is, eh? When you start to think
you
of it.
start to go through it. Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't tried the disc golf yet.
No.
No, I didn't even know how it worked. So now I
Now
get
you
it.
know how it
now
works.
I get
You have to
it.
get the
It's
kids
just
out.
like golf, except
Yeah.
instead of
10
you just-
frisbees instead of 10,
frisbees.
10 golf clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize they had different frisbees for different things.
No, me neither. I'll have to look into that. I'm sure
Yeah.
the kids would like it.
Yeah, it'd be fun. We were always looking for stuff like that for the kids to do, playgrounds and stuff everywhere we went.
I know we do have a group that does walk, like a club de marche.
Yeah.
So it's a club
Yeah.
that they get together and they walk the trails.
Okay.
And they usually are pretty good at letting us know if there's trees fallen or any problems.
Are they an official one, or are they like, do they have a Facebook group or anything? Or?
Yeah, it's just Club de marche de Grande-Digue. It's
I
actually
try
one
and keep
of
a
our...
list of, because that's the second most asked question that I get is like, is there any hiking groups around?
Oh, really?
Areas? So I try and keep a list on the website.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
called Club de marche de Grande-Digue.
Okay.
And they don't just walk our trails. They sometimes go to Kakang.
They're just based
or
out of here.
Chiliac, or
Yeah.
they meet here and then they go to the trail that they pick depending on the weather. And
No, it's good, because I tell them there's one in Fredericton, one in Moncton, one in St. John, all the big centers, and then like beyond that, it's like there's smaller ones, but
smaller ones, yeah. It's committee secretary that takes charge of that club.
So what about trail maintenance and stuff? Do you guys?
We all just do it ourselves.
Yeah.
There was one year a few years back where we had a lot of trees fall down. And,
Yeah.
so and big ones. So me and my husband went with our 4-wheeler and met up with other people and just chainsaws and.
Yeah. So who does like the crush? You must get somebody in to do the crushed rock work.
Oh
Take
yeah.
it- yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you'll get funding
that
to do
we get
but,
local
yeah.
contractors come in and do the crushed rock. But this is pretty much the only one that has
The
crushed
crushed rock,
rock. Yeah, the other ones are more natural surface.
Yeah.
So we just do that ourselves with shovels and the brouettes, the
Oh, wheelbarrow.
wheelbarrows. And we've had student projects with the Chiliac Bay Watershed Association.
Oh.
Yeah, really fortunate to have them on board. We've had the student volunteers with the Chiliac Bay Watershed Association come and help with some of the trail maintenance and just getting the surfaces drained and
Yeah.
hauling shale and wheelbarrows and shovels and installing the walkways and
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
There's a lot of work to it.
Yeah.
What about like the interpretive panels and stuff? Is that fairly? You said that was fairly new.
Yeah, the interpretive panels, that was a project with the University of Moncton.
Yeah. I
The-
mean, it costs money to do. It's not hard to do, but it's usually to find the information to put on them is kind of the hardest part almost.
Yeah, we partnered up with the Historical Society of Grande-Digue for that.
Oh, okay.
And the University of Moncton. That was a pretty big project as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're just thinking of all the stuff you've done in the last 5 years now, aren't you?
Yeah. Time flies.
It does fly. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So how many interpretive signs do you have now? Like, do you have them on all trails, or just the shorter ones, or just a mix?
I think there's 2 on the school trail. There's one here at the museum, and there's one at Jock and Edna. There's 4 or 5. We have another project where we're kind of on hold right now because we don't have enough volunteers, but we wanted to get something together about having interpretive panels for la flore.
Flore,
So
la flore.
flower,
Wait,
like
the
flowers and
plants and
plants.
plants.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Plants and fruits and mushrooms and
Mm-hmm.
specifically Acadian flora.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is there any nature groups around?
There is les Amis de la Nature du Sud-Est,
Oh, okay.
which we partnered up with them for a few things as well. They are the ones that helped with the osprey nests.
The Balbuzard?
Yep, the Balbuzard. Yep. And they might be interested. I know they're busy as well, but
Yeah.
that's kind of a project that's on the back burner that we're looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of like hiking. It's history. It's flora and fauna. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a little bit of everything.
It is absolutely,
So-
and then I think the teachers and students at school had an idea about having the students construct little positive thoughts
Yeah.
that they could put on trees and
Oh, okay.
then paint rocks and shells and have them along the trail going to the school classroom.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we might
Engages
have.
little like the smaller kids. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah. The school in Woodstock, they have Ducks in the Keg Nature Preserve along the river that flows into Woodstock, and they have a science fair every year that's kind of around more of the environmental and the the nature and all that side of things. So it's
Mhm.
interesting. They kind of overlay that with the park and tie it in as much as possible. So
That's nice.
yeah.
Yeah, whenever
So-
you can get kids involved in projects with trails and nature, it's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. I better let you get back.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll let you get to your hiking.
Once I was done my interview with Stephanie, I went and got my camera out of the car and went back to get some pictures around the museum, the Acadian Historic Village that's there at the start of the trail. Walked back out the Sentier Musée, which is the museum trail that goes out. It's a wide crushed rock trail that goes out across the field and ends at a small area with a bench. And there's actually a side trail that actually goes out and hits the shore right on the bay. So got some pictures of that. Returned to the car and then started my big hike. I went down the road just a little bit to park at the church. There's a large church in Grande-Digue. I parked there. I started across the road from that. You'll see signs for the trail. First part of the trail is actually a long driveway, and you walk halfway back the driveway, then you turn and go across the field towards the school. And once you get to the school, by the playground, you turn right and you start to climb up over the hill. And the trail, this is the Sentier L'École trail, so the school trail. It goes back over the hill and provides views back. You can see the bay and the church, some nice views of Grande-Digue. You cross some fields, you go through some alders, and then you're in some back fields, which is really a nice walk. It looks like it's mowed in the summertime, kept up quite well. Then it turns right and quickly enters the woods. And at that point, there's a short distance, there's a wide area with some picnic tables and stuff for an outdoor classroom that you hear us talk about in the interview. Once I was done checking out that, I continued on the trail, and the trail crosses, I think the best thing about the trail was it crossed so many different forest types. So it would go from a birch stand to an old aspen stand. There was one stand that got hit hard with hurricanes, and it was like an old aspen stand where a lot of blowdowns. There's nice hardwood stands, mixed wood stands. So you go through different forest types the whole way. And you can see where you're crossing different private lands because you can see the roads going back across the trail. So continued on that trail. Eventually I get out to the other side and go through a beautiful hardwood stand, and then it comes out along the edge of a field. So the trail, it continues just inside of the woods right beside the field and goes along the field. At that point I saw an amazing thing that I've never seen before. So I saw this scurrying going on just beside the trail, between the trail and the field. So I got down to take a closer look, which is always important when you're out hiking. Make sure you slow down and take a look at what's around you, because it's amazing what you'll see. I'm never ceased to be amazed by what I find out in nature when I take the time to look around. So I looked closer, and what it was about 10 moles that were scurrying back and forth, coming in and out of the leaf layers, so up above the leaf layers. So I could see them all plain as day, like running back and forth and scurrying like around in this chaotic, I don't know what kind of activity it was, but they were just going every which way for like probably 30 seconds. Then it quieted down and I couldn't see them anywhere. They kind of went back in their holes and I couldn't see them anymore. So I continued on with the trail and the field, and I looked across. There were some people working in a field that was on the other side of the field that I was going along. Looked like they were doing some kind of gardening type growing activities, not sure what they're doing. Continued along the field, and eventually the trail comes out to along the back of someone's backyard. So you go along their property and come out to the road. And this trail, I guess another part of it is before you get to the field itself, the trail follows kind of an alder-strewn road for a while. So an old road that's growing in a bit. Great trail, lots of interesting stuff. But you come out to the road and you look across at, there's a campground there. And I don't know what the campground name is. But the campground is, if you've ever driven in around Grande-Digue, you'll know the campground because it has a bunch of historic tractors that are all painted in bright colors out front of it. I returned about halfway on the L'École trail, and at that point there's a junction with the Allier-Bourque trail. And the Allier-Bourque trail is a bit different. It quickly comes out of the woods into like a wide, it's an old road, and it follows along. It's a really wide, looks like it's mowed, grassy wide trail, so, and straight as an arrow, so it looks like an old access road or something. Followed that for a while and got startled by a garter snake, which I don't mind snakes, but when you catch them out of the corner of your eye, they always startle you. Same with mice and stuff. But got down and checked him out a little bit closer. Continued on the straight trail, and eventually that comes out into the back of a field, and you're following along the edge of a field. And then about partway across the field, you go through the trail. It's pretty cool because you go through a stand of red pine trees, which are very straight. The way they were grown was in straight lines along what must have been an old road. It provided kind of a tunnel that you go through in the red pine stand. Then you pop out on the road, you cross the road, is a small parking lot, and then that long, grassy, wide trail that looks like it's mowed continues out for another probably kilometer and hits a little bay in the Bucktooth side of things. There's a picnic table there and an interpretive sign. And then there's some trail work being done from there out to the shore. It wasn't too bad. The spring's drying out fast, too fast actually for forest fire season. But walked out past the muddy part where they're building the trail, and it comes out along the edge of a camp's lawn and then makes its way out to the shore. The fun part about that trail was near where the woods stopped, near the bay, there is a nesting pole for osprey. And there's 3 osprey that flew around very closely, very interested in what I was doing there. I weren't being aggressive, but they would just soar around, loop around above me, and be looking down and making sure I wasn't doing anything. But it didn't look like they were nesting on the nesting box. They didn't go near the nesting box at all. It looked like they kept going back further in the woods. In the little bay before I got to the shore, you could see ducks and blue heron. It was kind of a little salt marsh. So once I was done there, I made my way back the same trail to the Sentier-les-Cols and started back the Sentier-les-Cols trail. And that's where I met up with David Méthode, who is the vice president of the Sentier Pluriel de Grande-Digue Association. And we had a good conversation, and it was great to see the passion. I mean, just the fact that I was out there on a Saturday, and he was there with a four-wheeler and some hand tools, and he was actually doing work on the trail. And this is early May, actually might have been late April. Had a good conversation with him about the trail and how it passes through so many different forest types, and how actually the land that he was working on, part of that was his lands. He is one of the landowners that the trail crosses. Made my way back out to the field, flew the drone a bit to get some shots higher up, looking out over Grande-Digue. It's a beautiful part of the trail where you're coming out across fields, and like I say, you're looking out over the bay and Grande-Digue. Got back to the car. By that point, I was probably at about 15 kilometers hiked. It was quite a big day. It was getting later in the day. I think it was like 4 o'clock. I was tired. I was torn between packing it in and finishing the last 2 trails. After debating with myself, I decided that it would probably be a while since I get to Grande-Digue again, so I'm going to go check out the other 2 trails. So I went and checked out the Paul Casey trail first. That was the other driver too. Is the next trail, the Paul Casey trail, which I think is 500 meters, is a short trail through a field that goes out and overlooks the Grande-Digue salt marsh, and there's a beach, a barrier beach actually out beyond that protects the salt marsh. Got in my car at the church, drove down the road, and there's kind of an intersection there. Turned in the intersection, kept along the coast, and there's a fish market type store that I pulled into. That's where the Paul Casey trail is. So on the left side of this fish market type store, if you go back and continue past the building, you'll find some parking on the left, and then it's the trail continues straight along a grassy field. So I first got out of the car. I met 2 geese that weren't very happy with me being there, and they made their way across the field to get out of my way, but they weren't very happy with moving. There was a pond on the other side. They wanted to get back to the pond, I think. Then after you go through the field, the trail enters the woods, beautiful hardwood stand right next to the coast, and you pop out into this open area where there's it looks like people have campfires there. There's a small lookout platform, it's big enough for 1 person. You can climb up a couple of steps and get a better look out over the salt marsh. And there's an interpretive sign there right next to the tall grass that separates the small field from the salt marsh. While I was there was another osprey that circled around above. There's a nesting pole there, and I think they were actually using that nesting pole, it looked like. Got done the Paul Casey trail, amazing spot, and that was one of the highlights of all the trails that I wanted to check out. Mainly because of the salt marsh and the beach. I want to see if I can go back and try and get out on that beach, because it's quite a long beach that goes out along the salt marsh. It'd be a cool place to explore. Once I was done there, I drove back towards the church just a little bit, and on the right-hand side, so away from the coast, there's a small parking lot in a field, right in the middle of a farmer's field, and it looks like a brand new parking lot. It looks like it hasn't settled very much. But parked there's another interpretive sign, and the trail called the Sentier Jacques et Edna, so the Jacques and Edna Trail, goes back on an old road across the field and enters the woods, kind of a mixed wood forest. It's a straight trail. Eventually it comes, not very long, the whole trail itself was 750 meters to get to a bench that's in the woods. But beyond the bench, the trail goes for 2.2 kilometers in total, but it's a winter trail since beyond the bench, beyond the 750 meters, the trail drops down into an open bog and it's water. But what I did get to do is I was getting there late in the day and the bog was just really just the loudest sound you could hear of spring peepers and other frogs making noise in the bog. And that was an amazing way to end the day. I love the sound of spring peepers and frogs in the spring. It just makes me feel like it's spring. It was early in the season, so I'm surprised there wasn't any snow. I think there was one small patch of snow I saw the whole day, so it was nice to see that it was dried out enough and I wasn't doing any damage. But what an amazing trail system. If you get a chance and you're in the area of southeast New Brunswick, then check out the trails. If you enjoy them, consider supporting the Sentier Pluriel de Grande-Digue Association with their trail work. And that was the end of my day. At the end of it, it was, I think, 18 kilometers that I clocked total. So it was a big hiking day covering all the trails. But there's such a variety. There's short trails, there's long trails, there's coastal trails, goes through forest. It goes along Shediac Bay, it goes along Bucktouche Bay. There's so many different forest types that you're going through, so much to choose from. If you want more information on the trails, you can check out the Sentier Pluriel de Grande-Digue website. They have a breakdown and a nice map of all the trails. They have a breakdown description of each of the trails with pictures, which will give you a better idea for each of them. And the variety and the size of the trails, you can make it whatever you want it to be. Thank you for joining me on this week's adventure. On the next podcast, we interview Nicolas Guittard. If you know that name, you've probably bought one of his books, either Waterfalls of New Brunswick or The Lost Wilderness, Rediscovering W.F. Ganong's New Brunswick. This book is amazing. It's basically 100 years ago, W.F. Ganong used to explore the wilderness of all of New Brunswick. And this book recounts the history of that and overlays it with Nicolas going out and visiting some of these sites and discussing how much William F. Ganong explored back 100 years ago, where it was a lot more difficult to explore these areas. He spent basically most of his life just exploring the wilderness around New Brunswick before roads access, before any of that. So I'm excited for that. So stay tuned. Until next time, hope to see you on the trail or on the water.